Welcome back to Political Hot Seat. It's a live call-in show. You can call 727-8750 to speak to your Nye County Clerk, Sandra Merlino, who is campaigning for another term. Or you can email us at deanna@kpvm.tv. When we went to break, Bill Garlow was reluctantly going to break talking about commercials, and we want to say, I know you guys really enjoyed those commercials. And of course, give us a call here at KPVM if you'd like to have one. I'm going to ask Sandra Merlino a couple questions. We were talking a little bit about the services offered at the Nye County Clerk's office, and we kind of went through, because there's so many of them that fall under your umbrella. Let's go over those a little bit.
Okay, once again, we're clerk for the commissioners. We have to attend all the meetings, take minutes, handle all of their documents, marriage licenses. We give out a lot of those, thank goodness. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, we also handle twice as many divorces. We do. We file notaries. We handle minister licensing, and now notaries can perform marriages. So that's a new change.
Oh, wow.
And between the voter registration elections, that's enough to keep us busy. Exactly. Acting as court clerk and everything. That's.
We were speaking a little bit about the elections and how Nevada went from number 22 in kind of discrepancies in the nation up to number 5 now, meaning that we have so much improved in any kind of variations in the votes and counting. And let's talk a little bit about that.
Well, I don't know for certain about the votes themselves. The electronic machines are just virtually impossible to manipulate unless you give somebody the machine and say, open it up and mess it up. There's nothing you can do. So I just don't think there's any way to manipulate votes at all. But I think they might be talking about voter fraud in respect to voters voting in different counties or different states. And the state has made great strides. We now contact other states and cross-reference voters in other states. Oh, wow. It's very new. We just went through a whole voter registration cleanup with some of the other states. I think 7 states are involved. And that, like I said, that's a huge stride. And recently, we actually got notification that they think we had 3 voters in Nye County that voted in other states.
Wow.
So they are able to research that now. So they sent us a list, wanted us to double check if these people had voted in our election, and they found that they also voted in another state. So it's something that if it has gone on, it won't for much longer.
Are they prosecuted? What do they do?
I don't know. This is a first for us. What we did is basically send out the roster with their signature and let them know they did vote here. So if that doesn't deter somebody, if they prosecute, I don't know what will.
Well, we have a caller who is Diane. She's asking about voter auditing. Diane? Diane?
Yes.
Hi.
Hi. I was wondering what pertained to voters audit, if you were sent one of those.
I'm not sure what a voters audit is.
Well, I was sent a voters audit last election, and it told me what who my neighbors around me voted for, and I don't know what else it was pertaining to. It just said who my neighbors voted for and what I voted for. And I found it to be invasive of my privacy.
Oh, that did not come from our office. If you get something like that again, I would really be interested to see it.
I'm digging through my stuff looking for it right now.
You know where our office is?
Yeah, because that actually sounds really suspicious,
it does.
Doesn't it?
It does sound suspicious.
All of your votes, and you can confirm all of this, are, of course, kept confidential, and they would never do something like that, send it around.
No.
And so go a little bit more detail about that.
Yeah, we do our best to keep voter privacy, even our absentee ballots. I can explain how that works. When we get an absentee ballot, we actually hire an absentee counting board. They look at the envelope, they slice it open. One takes the envelope, one takes the actual ballot, so nobody sees who voted for what. They're totally separated. So what we do is we take the envelope and actually process the envelope saying that person voted, double check the signature. But in the meantime, that ballot is over here, so we never know who voted for what.
Wow.
Speaking of that, RVers who go through these mail forwarding and they get absentee ballots. Now, I always believe you had to be a resident of the county or the state that you were voting in. So if I was from Illinois and I happened to be passing through Nevada, and good old Sam's mail forwarding place, and I put my name in there and I registered to vote in the state of Nevada, what happens to that ballot?
When I first got into office, this was a huge problem, and I can tell you that, right? But the statute says that if you are if you don't have a fixed residence in Nevada, you can vote for president and vice president only, and you vote by absentee. So what almost all the counties have done, except for maybe Washoe and Clark, is we've created a special precinct for these people. And they, like I said, they can only vote for president and vice president. They fill out an absentee request, and they have to provide a Nevada driver's license or Nevada bank account or something along those lines before we can give them the ballot. But it's only president, vice president. They can't vote for any local races or anything else. Once they register, once they vote for a presidential election, they're taken back out of our system. In 4 years, they can do it again.
Okay, well, it never wasn't like that all the time.
Oh, no.
No, because they were voting. Like I said, I could vote in every state from here to Illinois if I wanted to.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Is there different laws in other states?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And actually, Nye County was kind of the poster child for that. We had a lot of RVers when I first got into office. We got them all cleared out, and actually when we met with the Secretary of State and other clerks, I ended up telling him what our process was, how we handle things. When we have RVers try to register to vote, now they have to go to the manager of the RV park to get a letter that actually states they are a permanent resident. If they're not a permanent resident, then they have to vote by absentee for president and vice president only.
So what are they doing in other states? Do you know?
I don't even want to know.
One thing I can mention about this is some years ago, this was all brought up, and I was caught in the middle of this by some, I don't know why.
What did you do now, Bill?
Huh?
What did you do now, Bill?
What do I do? Nothing. No, but you know, and I got caught up in it, and so I know it went through a lot because it was a lot about, you know, who did what and who voted where, and so I do know that Nye County did clear it up for all you people out there who still think anything like that's going on. No. I haven't heard of it since because Sam did go to work on it, and they got it straightened out, you know, but.
Are states still, or are more states going to, because you said that there's 7 states that were involved in that cross-referencing the voters. Are you guys looking at more states? Are you guys talking about cross-referencing voters, or?
I hope so, but it all involves the Secretary of State, and he's the one that actually got this process started, and hopefully all states will get involved, but it's a huge well, you know what I'm trying to say. I can't seem to spit that out. It's a lot of work to get this going, all the cross-referencing on voter registration. So we just hope more get on board.
Exactly. So we want to let everybody know once again that you can call in and ask our Nye County Clerk, Sandra Merlino, any questions that you might have concerning the Nye County Clerk's office at 727-8750. You can also email at deanna@kpvm.tv. Let's talk a little bit more about, well, I'm going to turn it over to Bill for a second.
Oh, well, thank you.
There you go, Bill.
We're back over here. All right. Now I'm sitting here thinking about, like, you know, 15 years ago or something like that, or 12 years ago. But anyway, I'm glad to see that Nye County has it the way they do. And it's only a shame that a lot of these other states don't. Because I have, you know, I do have information at home where in one county in another state, like in Florida, one person got 148% of the votes. You know, which really seems hard. The other guy didn't get any, you know. And in a county in Ohio, a person got 108% of the votes and the other guy didn't get any. And so, you know, if this would spread across the United States, we might actually be able to straighten it all out, you know. Yeah. But as long as you go along with people fighting about the idea that you don't have to tell who you are to go in and vote, I mean, you know, I could go into each county in the state of Nevada, if that's the case, and just give them a different name, and I don't need an ID. But I'm talking about other states. I'm not talking about here. I'm talking about.
But that brings up a question about how we cross-reference the voters when they register. Like I said, at night, all their numbers run through DMV, vital statistics, and everything else. There is. They sign their voter registration, and their signature actually is imaged on the poll books, and the workers are trained to verify the signature. And if it's off, they will call me over, and we'll look at it. We'll have them prove that they are who they are by their driver's license or whatever. So it's a pretty good system.
Well, that's the way it should be. I mean, you just keep it, because my one vote counts for me just as much as the other person's one vote.
Yeah.
I don't have the rights to take away theirs. They don't have the rights to take away mine by voting twice.
Right.
Does your one vote actually count? Or is that just local? Or let's talk a little bit about that, because I know a lot of people have that controversy. Does the actual one single vote count in bigger races, or?
Statewide, it's hard to tell, because usually by the time we even report our results, everybody knows who won the statewide races. And even though Nye County has gotten pretty big and we can make a difference, not enough difference, unfortunately. But local races, yes. We've had so many races that were one vote apart, the same amount of votes. So absolutely, it makes a difference in local races.
Yeah, you go back to that Butch Brasky and Carl Moore commissioner race. And
that was...
And we even had the recount, and they were still even votes. And, it was actually pulling a card. That was amazing.
That was interesting. Yeah.
I know that we're going to talk a little bit about registering to vote, and one of the things that people always seem to bring up to me, especially around election time, is them being registered as a nonpartisan or as a minor party, and them not being able to vote in certain races. And I want to bring that up, but I know that we're ready to go to a break. So if you do have a question, you can call 727-8750 and ask Sandra Merlino all these questions. We'll be back with Political Hot Seat in just a moment.